You had a crazy 24 hours in college football, and I'm sure you all heard about it. Of course, I'm going to talk about it. I have to talk about it, and we'll get into that in a minute. Well, I'm talking about the firing of Sherrone Moore at the University of Michigan, or that team up north. We're going to get into all that and what's going to be the fallout for this drama that has occurred in Michigan. We'll get into all that. Plus, tonight, college foot, NFL. NFL got a matchup tonight that we're going to get into with the Falcons and the Buccaneers. And I'm going to tell you which teams I think are already going to make the playoffs. We got 4 weeks to go, but I'm going to tell you who I think is already in and who might get in. And then we're going to delve into a little bit of the NBA. Can anybody, and I mean anybody, catch or even coming close to catching the Oklahoma City Thunder? We're going to get into all that right here, right now, in the Total Sports Ozone. You go with the big mouth coming at you on a Thursday, December 11th, 2025. Got the wrong date right there. I'm sorry about that. And let's get right into it. Wow, I literally found out about this late yesterday, like towards the evening yesterday, that the University of Michigan, or as we Buckeye fans call them, that team up north, has fired head coach Sherrone Moore for cause. And for those of them don't know what that means, if a coach is fired for cause, that means they don't have to pay him a buyout. They don't have to pay him a dime. Any years remaining on that contract or any buyouts that were negotiated, that's all gone. So Sherrone Moore will not get paid a dime for being terminated. The university says they fired him for having a quote unquote engaging in a inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Unquote. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean by inappropriate relationship? Does that mean that he messed around, as you would say, messed around with a member of the team or a member of its staff or management? Did he say the wrong words, or was there some kind of communication with this staff member that was totally inappropriate, like sending inappropriate text messages or emails or what have you? That's what I'm kind of concerned. What was the inappropriate relationship? Now, we haven't heard from Sherrone Moore because he's in jail as we speak. He is in jail. He is being held right now in the Washington County jail for an alleged assault right after, like an hour or two after he was fired. An alleged assault on said staff member. He allegedly, after being found out he was fired, he allegedly broke into the house of the staff member he was supportedly to have an alleged inappropriate relationship with and assaulted, which led to his arrest. As of the information I've read, he's still in jail as we speak. Well, I'm gonna look at all this from two hats: the hat I'm wearing on my head and my objective hat that I have on the side. The hat I have on my head, I'm laughing. I'm a Buckeye fan, and yes, I'm laughing. Ah! Ah! Hey, I don't make no bones about it. I don't make no qualms. Like I said, I'm a fan, and I'm a Buckeye till I die. And seeing something go wrong in Michigan or that team up north, it was great when we beat them. But now all this, now they don't have a head coach. I think it's beautiful. If I'm Michigan, if I'm Ohio State fan, I'm wearing my Ohio State hat right now, and I love it. All that drama, all this drama. You know, you look back at it, Michigan, that team up north, they've gone through a lot of drama since winning that national title. Just a short 2 years ago. Remember, just 2 years ago, they were on top of the college football world, undefeated, national champions. And then, bam, the alleged scandal with the sign stealing and Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, gone. He ducktailed and ran back to the NFL. He couldn't have ran fast enough because he knew the hammer was coming down. So Sherrone Moore, he gets promoted to head coach, so he is going to bear more of the brunt of any punishment that the school is going to hand out or the NCAA is going to hand out. And he gets suspended a couple of games. He was suspended a couple of games this year. And he was supposed to get suspended one more game next year for all the scandal that happened with the sign stealing and all that good stuff. Now, this. This is why I am so happy. Now I am even more ecstatic that the Buckeyes went to Ann Arbor and handed them a beatdown. So Sherrone Moore's last official game as head coach of the University of that team up north was a beatdown given to them by my Buckeyes. I couldn't be more ecstatic about that. I thought I laughed. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I was bust out laughing. I was rolling as the Buckeye fan. Like I say, I'm wearing my Buckeye hat right now as I'm talking to you about this. I think it's funny. I think it's great. Anything that goes wrong that messes with that program, I'm all for it as a Buckeye fan. Yes, I make no apologies about it. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I'm laughing. Okay. Now, I'm going to put back on my objective hat. This is a terrible situation that Sherrone Moore put himself in. You know, there's been so much outcry about how African Americans are not African American qualified African Americans aren't getting decent shots at being head coaches in major colleges and universities like Michigan's and Alabama's and so forth. And Sherrone Moore gets that opportunity. I mean, we're talking about the college football blue blood, the winningest college football program in history. Over 1,020 wins. I mean, there ain't too many more college football blue bloods that are more bluer than Michigan. Let's face it. And Sherrone Moore is at the helm of that. It's not like he did too bad as a head coach. He was a 17-8. But with the hand that he was dealt with the drama and the scandal with the sign stealing stuff, he didn't do too bad. He hadn't done too bad. It's not like Michigan had a losing season. They didn't. You know, they've gone to 2 bowl games since the national title game and all that scandal went down. So Sherrone Moore has held this team above water. and then this happens, my thought process is, like I said, I'm putting on my majestic hands. What the? I really want to hear from Sherrone Moore. I need to hear his side. We've heard the side of the university. We've heard, I'm sure you read or heard about it. I know I've read and heard about it. They fired him for cause inappropriate relationship. But what I want, and I've seen on social media, the support, the member who Sherrone Moore supposedly, allegedly had that inappropriate relation with. And if it's the truth, I don't know if it's the truth or not. As an African American myself, I'm hoping that some of this isn't true, but it has to be. They fired the man for cause shortly before, right when they're in preparation for their bowl game. And if you didn't know, Michigan is due to play Texas in the Citrus Bowl on January 1st. So why they had to be some significant truth to this whole situation. There had to be. And from what I've heard, Michigan has been investigating this alleged situation for at least the past 6 months. So if I'm Sherrone, what are you thinking? If I'm anywhere near Sherrone Moore, I'm thinking, why would you do this to yourself? If this is true, why would you? I mean, his whole world right now has just come crashing down. He's married. I believe he has 2 children. 39 years old. You're head coach of a college football blue blood. You cannot say college football and not have Michigan in the same sentence with college football. You can't do that. You cannot say college football and not have Michigan in the same sentence with that. You can't. Just like Alabama, just like Ohio State, just like Oklahoma. Same sentence. So why would you do this to yourself? And that's why I would love to ask him. If all this is true, why? What were you thinking? Why would you blow and blow up such a great opportunity? An opportunity not too many African American men get to be the head coach of a major college football program. We're not talking about one of them FCS schools. We're not talking about one of them little group of fives. We're talking about Michigan, Big Ten, Power 4 Conference, Blue Blood. They get all the money and resources and all that. Why would you blow that if what the media and what the administration at Michigan is saying is true? Why would you blow all that for this? Why would you do that? Forget the married part. Forget the infidelity part. Forget all that. That's on him and his wife, between him and his wife and all that. You don't get into all that domestic stuff. That's on him. It's just that his career is pretty much blown to bits. And through his own fault. That's what I don't understand. Come on. As much as I hate Michigan, you got to respect the history. The passion the fans have, the history. You have to respect that. And you're leading that. You are supposed to be leading that. And what do? You do this, and now that's all gone. That's the part I don't understand. And what about the school? What is the school going to do? I haven't read anywhere yet who's going to be taking over as interim head coach. I'm pretty sure they got an interim head coach, and they have to put an interim head coach in place. They have to do that so that there was be somebody that can get this team refocused for the upcoming bowl game. I don't know how. I don't know who it is, and I don't know how he's going to do it. Because this will fire. This, this is a bomb that just dropped on this program just in the last 24 hours. I don't know who the interim head coach is, and I don't know how he's going to get this entire team refocused to get ready for the upcoming bowl game. But that's going to be the new interim head coach's job. And the other thing, this is happening right before a couple of weeks before, right after the first recruit, and then right before transfer portal time, which is, I believe, January 2nd. How could this bombshell, this whole drama, how could it affect players on the team? I'm pretty sure a lot of these players is probably going to leave, transfer to other schools because it's just too much drama. I'm pretty sure this is going to affect the recruiting. It will, but to what degree? I'm sure they're going to lose a few recruits. I don't think they should lose too many, but it all depends on who they can get to be the new head coach in Michigan. There's already been a lot of scuttlebutt out on the internet, out on the media, sports media, and what have you, about possible candidates to be the new head coach in Michigan. One of them was Alabama's head coach, Jalen DeBoer. He's already said, He said, I'm here in Alabama. This is where I'm going to stay. What about the recently fired Mike Kelly from LSU? Or Brian Kelly. My fault. Brian Kelly from LSU. Would he be a good fit in Ann Arbor? Mm-hmm. Bobby Petrino. He's another name thrown out there. What about him? And the thing is, and here's the problem what Michigan's going to have with hiring a new head coach. With all the head coaching vacancies that came up, like I think it was at least 10 of them, right before all this, weeks before all this, and like there was like a real flutter of head coaches being hired right after this regular season ended. LSU, Lane Kiffin, Florida new head coach, who else? Arkansas, Kentucky, all these teams that got new head coaches fast. They had the time. They had time to be going through too many, going down the whole long list. They had to get somebody fast. All these coaches, because of how the recruiting and the transfer portal and all this NIL, because of that calendar, they had to get people, head coaches set in the school real quick. Now, with this happening with Michigan, they're going to be behind the 8 ball. They have to get a new head coach. And then a couple of weeks before the bowl game, a couple of weeks before transfer portal time. And they're going to have to get a new head coach. And he's going to want to get his own new staff and this and that. And they don't have much time. This is really going to throw Michigan off kilter for at least the next year or two, I believe. I think this is going to throw them, this is going to put a hitch in the Michigan wagon for at least the next year, maybe 2. That's what I believe. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, I hate Michigan, but it's unfortunate for them because it's unfortunate to the kids that play up there and the fans that root, that root for the team. It is very unfortunate time for them. And what do you say? Like I said, what do you say? How can this be explained? I think the whole college sports world, especially college football, especially Michigan fans, especially fans that hate Michigan, we all want to know What was he thinking? But the only one we can hear that from is Sherrone Moore. And right now, he's in jail. Well, we ain't gonna hear. Who knows when we'll be able to hear from him to hear his side of the story. I think that's all we're waiting on. That's all I'm going to wait on before I give my full opinion of what I think of him. I don't want to throw him under the bus completely until I hear his side. I need to hear his side of this whole sordid tale before I make my final decision on what I think of all this. So I'm gonna hold judgment out on him until I hear his side. Hopefully we hear from his side of the story very soon. But as of now, he's out as the head coach of that team up north. Again, my Buckeye side, I'm laughing. I think it's great. He gone. At first, I thought it was because he lost to Ohio State. they chased him out the door, but it doesn't seem from that because he only played Ohio State as head coach twice, and he's one up and one down. So I don't think they would chase him out the door for just losing 1 out of 2 against the Buckeyes. There had to be something else, and as it turned out, it was something else. Something else real serious in the eyes of the Michigan Athletic Department. It must have been real serious to give him the boot with cause, which means no buyout money for him. Again, I'm gonna hold out on what I think about this whole sort of test from his side till we hear him, Sherrone Moore, till we hear his side of the story. But what do you think? Is Sherrone Moore is Sherrone Moore done as a college football coach? I'm gonna throw that out to you guys. Drop me a comment. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like what I'm saying, if you don't like what I'm saying, still hit that like button and leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. Let's move on to the NFL. Tonight, we got a Thursday night football game going on, and it's a divisional game, NFC South. Tampa Bay Bucks will be entertaining the Atlanta Falcons. According to a certain sports book, I'm not going to tell who it is, Tampa Bay is favored by 5.5 with an over-under of 43.5. And this is to say both these teams need. Well, Tampa Bay needs this game a lot more than Atlanta. Atlanta's pretty much did themselves in. They've lost 5 in a row. They lost 5 in a row, and in their last game they got pulverized. They got destroyed in their house by the Seattle Seahawks, and they just don't look good. I don't know if it's Kirk Cousins. I don't know if it's the defense. I just don't know. This team, like I said, yeah, they got blown out last Sunday, but this Falcons team this year has been close, but not close. Close, but not close enough. They come close to winning games, and then they find ways to choke it away. Personally, I think the Atlanta Falcons and Arthur Blank, we call him Uncle Arthur, should hire a doctor that be on the sidelines during the games, and his only activity, his only job to do as the doctor on the team is to give each player the Heimlich maneuver when they choke. Because that's what they've been doing. That's what the Falcons have done. Choke games away. Right now, if you count up they have blown 4 games in the last 2 minutes. 4. They have blown within the last 2 minutes of the game. 4 blown leads in the past 2 minutes. Either let the game be tied or they just let the team win them outright. Including the game in overseas to the Jets. Or no, not Jets, the Broncos. The Broncos. This team is like close. If they had not blown those 4 games, they'd be 8-5, right in the middle of the playoff picture. They'd be 8-5. They had learned, if they knew how to finish games, they would be right. They would be 8-5 and right in the thick of the playoff race. Probably be in the hunt to win the division. At 8-5, the NFC South is not that great. They would be right there with the Panthers and trying to win the division if they didn't blow these leads late. That's what they'll probably do tonight. That's what they'll probably do. They played Tampa Bay tough. Last time they played, earlier this year, Atlanta lost 23-20. Lost by 3. Lost late. Tampa Bay kicked a late field goal to win the game because Atlanta blew a 6-point lead late. That's what the Falcons have done. I believe the Falcons have to make it to be a very, very good team. But they got to learn how to finish games. That is their biggest, and that's been their biggest problem ever since they blew that Super Bowl 7 years ago. That's been their biggest problem. This team does not know how to finish. And you got to learn how. And in the National Football League, we all know most games that you play in the season are going to be close games within 1 score or so than they are going to be blowouts. Because these are professional football players, and everything plays into these games. Injuries, turnovers, what have you. So there are going to be a lot more close games than there are blowouts. And the teams that can know how to finish, make the right plays on both offense and defense to finish the game and get that W, are the teams that usually go on the playoffs and have success in said playoffs. The Falcons are not going to be one of those teams this year because they don't know how to finish. They got talent on that team. They got talent. Bijan Robinson, Michael Penix when he's healthy, Mooney. They have talent on that team on both sides of the ball. But they just don't know how to put it together to close out a game. A game that could go either way. They don't make the necessary plays on either offense or defense to close out that game, to salt away that win. They have yet to learn how to do that, which is why they're 4-9. Now, Tampa Bay is coming off a pretty ugly loss, even though it's a close one. It's a pretty ugly home loss to the New Orleans Saints. But Baker Mayfield, Ibuka, they're getting healthier. Their wide receiver core is getting healthier. Their defense needs to wake up because they cannot allow teams to run all over them the way they did let the Saints do. And they're at home. I know they played that game in the rain, so you know what I'm saying? You playing in the rain, you play in a pouring rainstorm, but so did the Saints. Saints are an indoor team, so are the Falcons. You shouldn't be don't be blaming elements. Don't blame the elements for why you lost. Especially to a team that usually plays indoors. Tampa Bay needs this game tonight. Or they pretty much their hopes of winning, getting a playoff spot may be done. And their only hopes might be to win the division. And if Tampa Bay loses tonight and Carolina wins, that hope is gone. So Tampa Bay needs this game tonight. They need this way more than most people will probably think. The 7-6, so they're on the outside looking in as far as the wild card. They need this game tonight. I think they'll get this game tonight. I think it's going to be just the way it always is with these two. They play it close, but Tampa Bay will find a way to win the close game. So, starting with the spread, I will go with Tampa Bay to win. I will go with Atlanta. I think it's going to be another field goal. I think it's going to come down to another field goal. So, give me Tampa Bay to win it, but I'll take Atlanta to cover it. But Atlanta will find a way to choke the game away late. That's what they do. I don't know why, but that's what they do. I don't know why. We'll see if I'm right or wrong about that tonight. That game's on Prime, 8:15. Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. Now, I want to get into. Let's get into the playoffs. We're at the 3/4 pole in the season, right? Everybody got roughly 4 games left in the season. So, I'm going to tell you who I think is going to make the playoffs in each conference with 4 games remaining. Roughly 4 games remaining, I'm going to let you know who I think will make the playoffs in each conference. Let's start with the AFC. AFC's the Patriots. If the Patriots win Sunday, they're in. They won the division. They're playing Buffalo at home. Patriots win, division is theirs. They will have won the division, and the only thing they'll be worried about now is either passing Denver for home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. They're a lock. New England is a lock. They'll be in. I believe they can lose the rest of that game. They'll still lock up a playoff spot. At 11 wins already, they're in. Buffalo will get in. Will they win the division? I doubt it. They'll be in the wild card, probably the 5th or 6th wild card. But I believe they'll get in. Buffalo's leaning a lot more on Josh Allen to carry this team because their defense, let's face it, their defense has a lot to be desired, and they got a lot to overcome. So Josh Allen basically has to be Superman on the team, and in the last couple of weeks, he has been Superman. He has willed this team to victories, especially at the comeback win in the 4th quarter against Cincinnati. He willed them to that victory. They were down 10 in the 4th quarter, and he willed them to the victory. He did that pretty much all on his own. With a little help when the Bengals turning the ball over a couple times, back-to-back picks, including a pick 6. But that was mostly Josh Allen willing them to victory. So I believe Buffalo will get in probably as a wild card, either the 5th or 6th wild card spot. Remember, there's only 4 division winners, 3 wild card spots. I believe Buffalo will grab one of the wild card spots. Miami will come up short. They've been on a roll. They've won 4 in a row, but they're going to come up short. Now, in the AFC North, the winner of this division going to the playoffs, the loser will not. The loser will not. So you can flip a coin on this one. The Steelers, the Ravens, like I said, whoever wins this division will win the division, get an automatic home game in the playoffs. But that's all they're going to do. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be the Steelers. I think the Steelers will somehow, some way hold on to the AFC North division lead and end up winning the division and going to the playoffs. Do I think they'll do anything in the playoffs? Nope. Not a damn thing. Not one damn thing. Will I think they do anything in the playoffs? Nope. I just don't see it. but that's just me. So, but I'll go with the Steelers to win the North. AFC South is probably the tightest division in the AFC. Well, one game separates first from third. Got the Jacksonville Jaguars leading at 9-4, with the Texans and the Colts one game behind them. Now, if this was about 3 weeks ago, I would have said the Colts was going to win this division and get that and probably chase either Denver or New England for home field advantage. But my, have things turned. They have lost 3 in a row. Daniel Jones, their starting quarterback, is now out for the season with a torn Achilles. And they just signed and probably going to have to start Phillip Rivers. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, who was a head coach at a school or something just about a week or two ago. He has now been signed to the Colts, 44 years old, and he's looking like he might be the starting quarterback this weekend when the Colts go up to Seattle and play the Seahawks. Right now, the Colts are 8-5. I just don't see it. It was a terrible, terrible injury that happened to Daniel Jones at the worst, probably one of the worst times of the season. At the 3-quarter pole, when you were, first 5-6 weeks, the Colts were dealing. They look like they could be beat. But now, I don't know. Just don't know. I don't know. I don't think, Phillip Rivers. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm not gonna hang my hat and hang my playoff hopes on a 44-year-old quarterback who hadn't played 5 years, and just I don't know. After one, I don't know. It's shaky. We have to see how much Phillip Rivers got yet, but my gut tells me the Colts are going to miss the playoffs, probably on tiebreakers. I got the Jaguars. Texans. I think the Texans will jump the Jaguars. Texans have an outstanding defense. Outstanding. They can get after the QB. They can stop the run. And in this time of the year, that's what you want to do. And plus, CJ Stroud has turned into a pretty decent quarterback again. So with decent offensive play and ability to stop the run and get after the QB, I like Houston's chances of overtaking Jacksonville to win the division. But whoever loses this division between Houston, Jacksonville, I like that other team to be in the wild card, probably the leading wild card. Now in the AFC West, got Denver and Los Angeles. Kansas City pretty much is done. Kansas City cannot win the division. For the first time since 17, Kansas City Chiefs will not be the AFC West champions. They can't do it. Mathematically, they're eliminated from being able to win the AFC West. So it's going to come down to be Denver and Los Angeles. Denver has won 10 in a row. Sometimes they look good doing it. Sometimes they look horrible doing it. But 10 in a row is 10 in a row. And you can't argue with the numbers or the one-loss record. It is what it is. And I believe Denver will win the West. And I believe Denver will somehow garner home field advantage. I believe Denver will get home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs, with the Los Angeles Chargers probably as the 5th, the 6th, or 7th wild card. I think the Chargers with Justin Herbert, I'm not sure about his hand. I personally, if I was the coach, I'm sitting his ass down for one game so to let that hand heal. I know it's his non-throwing hand, but I believe the way they played Monday night against the Eagles, that hand had to be bothering him and had to be affecting his focus, I would sit him down. I'm definitely not going to play him out on a short week after that hand. After that hand is still surgically been repaired and still healing. I would definitely sit him down, but they're going to need Herbert. They're going to need Herbert on his game if they want to make the division, if they want to make the playoffs. I believe they'll make the playoffs. So, as one of the wild cards. So, I got my division winners being New England, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Denver. I got my wild cards being Buffalo, whoever Jacksonville, or whoever loses the division between Jacksonville and Houston and Los Angeles. Everybody else, I can't say the Colts because the quarterback situation is not very good, and I would like to, and they're on a little bit of a tailspin. So that's who I believe is coming out of the AFC going to the playoffs. Now let's look at the NFC. Well, NFC could be a little more complicated. Definitely a little more complicated. Let's start with the NFC East. You got the Eagles right now 8-5 with Dallas 6-1. I believe a game and a half behind them. They don't play each other no more. They're 1-1 against each other. Philadelphia has a way more favorable schedule down the last 4 games than Dallas. I mean, way more. The Eagles' schedule down the stretch. If they lose these games, they need to be smacked. They got the Raiders this weekend. Then they go to the Commanders. Then they have to go to Buffalo. And I believe their last home game is the Commanders again at home. Their schedule is way more favorable than Dallas's. You would think. On paper, you would think. Their schedule is way faster. So there's no reason for me to believe that the Cowboys can catch the Eagles for the NFC East Division Championship. However, there's crazier things that happen. But on paper, it looks like the Eagles that might lose to Buffalo. That's the only game you think you wouldn't give them a reasonable chance to win, especially the way they've lost 3 in a row and their offenses look terrible. Let's face it. But like I said, 3 of their last 4 games are against teams under 500, and they should win them easily, even if the offense is struggling. You would think, on paper, you would think, yes. So I'm going to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt on winning the NFC East. Cowboys, the schedule is favorable. Their last 4 games are all winnable, but they know they can't. They have no margin. They have no more margin for error at 6-1. They cannot lose another game. They know that. However, I just don't think it's going to be enough for them to squeak out a playoff spot. In my opinion, the only way the Cowboys are going to the playoffs is if they somehow leapfrog the Eagles and win the division. And I just don't see that happening this year. So, only one team out of the NFC East is going to the playoffs, and I believe that will be the Eagles. The NFC North is where it gets complicated. Green Bay Packers, who were 3rd in this division last week, 2 weeks ago, are now leading this division at 9-3-1. Bears are half a game behind at 9-4. And the Detroit Lions are 3rd at 8-5. 2 of these teams are going to make the playoffs. But which 2? That is the crazy complicated part of the NFC. 2 of these 3 teams will make it. One of these teams, I believe, will win 10 or more games and be sitting at home. That's right. I think one of these three teams, I don't know which one, but one of these three teams is going to win 10, at least 10 games, maybe 11. But win at least 10 games and going to be sitting at home watching the playoffs on TV, just like you and I. I wholeheartedly believe that's going to happen. Who will it be? Well, got Green Bay 9-3-1, Chicago 9-4, Detroit 85. My gut tells me Green Bay will pull this division out by the hair of their chinny chin. And I also believe the other division winner, the wild card, will go to the Detroit Lions. I just not believing too much in the Chicago Bears at right now. Don't believe in Caleb Williams too much. Even I know he's won some games late, but they'll get some poo-poo teams. I need to see him win games late. If they'd have beaten Green Bay last week, now I would have had a little bit more belief in them. But as of done, they came up short. So I can't believe right now that Caleb Williams is that quarterback that can be clutch late in the game to get teams over the hump. Not yet. It's coming though, but not yet. So in the NFC North, I got Green Bay winning the division with Detroit the wild card. Chicago will probably win 10 games, maybe one, and be sitting at home. Why, you ask? I'll let you know in a minute. I'll let you know in a minute. Let's go to the NFC South. Right now, Tampa Bay and Carolina are tied for the first place, which is why I said Tampa Bay needs this game tonight. Because they head to head, I believe they're tied. Each team is beating the other, I think. Nope, actually no, because they got the Tampa Bay has beaten the Panthers once, and now they got to go to Carolina in 2 weeks. So they need this game. Because if they lose to Carolina, then it's going to be based on better divisional record. And Carolina in the division right now is 2-1. Tampa Bay is 2-1. These two teams need wins over the weekend to keep looking each other dead in the eye in the NFC South. Ain't nobody else in the South going. But my personal opinion is whoever wins this division will be in. Another one will be sitting home. So it's between Carolina and Tampa Bay. Whoever wins the NFC South, they'll be in, and the loser of the division will be sitting at home. Unfortunately, that's the way the ball bounces, man. And why, you ask? Because the NFC West has 3 teams of 9 wins or more. 3! The Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. Rams and the Seahawks are both tied at 10-3, with the 49ers a game behind them at 9-4. That's 3 teams with 9 or more wins at the 3-quarter pole. I believe all 3 of these teams are going to make the playoffs. The Seahawks, the Rams, the 49ers. All 3 of them will make the playoffs. Because I believe all 3 of them are going to at least have 11 wins. At least. So you ain't going to keep none of them home. So my NFC picks for teams to make the playoffs. The Eagles winning the NFC East. I got the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC North with the Detroit Lions as a wild card. I got. I'm going to give the NFC South right now to Tampa Bay. That's subject to change. And then, so you got boom. And then you got the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers. I'm going to say that the Rams will win the division. Seahawks, 49ers will get the wild card spots. That's it. That's what I got as my playoffs in the NFC. What do you think? Did I make a mistake? Do you see another team coming out of the blue these last 4 weeks and sneaking out and stealing a playoff spot from another team? Let me know. Drop a line, drop me a comment, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Oh yeah, don't forget, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Total Sports Ozone, all one word. Total Sports Ozone. I'll be posting little short clips from my show, and you can drop a like, comment, and I'll read them all, and I'll try to respond to them as quick as I can. So, like, subscribe. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. Big O with the big mouth, Total Sports Ozone. Now, I've been promising, and I've been promising that I was going to talk more about the NBA, and I'm going to keep my promise. So let's dive into it. And what can you say? Just what can you say? I mean, let's just put it out there. Is anybody? I'm gonna just ask because everybody's asking. Can anyone, and I mean anyone, beat the Oklahoma City Thunder? I mean, I knew they're the defending world champs and all that, but good Lord, I mean, they're playing better right now than the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. And I didn't know if that was possible to be repeated. Because that Warriors team was regular season unstoppable. With Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson. This Thunder team, if you got superlatives for them, give them to me. Because I don't know the right superlative to accurately convey how this team is dominated. 24-1, and no team, and the team they're beating, they ain't coming close to beating them. They've lost one game by 2 points in Portland. That's it. One game they've lost by 2 points. They've been blowing teams out. Their average margin of victory is 17.4 points. That's the average margin of victory. 17.4. They're second in the league in scoring and first in opponents and scoring defense. And we're like, we're already past the quarter point of the season. We're already past the quarter point of the season. One game lost, and they're blowing teams out. Games are over. If you watch the Thunder, if you want to see their superstars, you want to see their star players, you better get the game in before the halfway through the third quarter. After that, they're sitting on the bench because they don't need to play them in the fourth quarter. Game's already been decided. That's how dominant this team has been. And with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that boy's a beast. That young man's a beast. He can play defense. He can play defense. He can D you up. He can play offense. I mean, there's nothing this young man can't do, really. Look at his last 5 games. He didn't play it. Last 5 games, he hasn't played too many. He hasn't played a lot of minutes. Well, he played a lot of 3 in the last 2. He didn't. But 37 points, 26 points, 38 points, 33 points, 28 points. I think he's like second or third in the league in scoring. Is there any reason why he's the defending league MVP? Kid is good. But then I was worried about the other guys like Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Lou Engens, Dort. I was wondering, Alex Caruso, I was wondering if they could repeat that performance they had last year, especially in the NBA playoffs. Boy, my concern with that is gone. The only question I have, like I said, the only question for the Thunder is, who the hell are they going? who's going to be able to beat this team in the playoffs? Who's going to even come close to beating them? And I ain't just talking about the Western Conference. I'm talking about the Eastern Conference as well. I'm talking about both conferences. Who the closest team to the Thunder right now is the Denver Nuggets. They're 17-6. That's the closest team to the Thunder. And in the East, the closest team to them will be the Detroit Pistons at 19-5. Do you really think that those two teams got the horses to hang with the Thunder in a 7-game series? That's the question. Right now, hell no. I don't see it. Unless the Oklahoma City Thunder get a bad luck stretch where a lot of their star players get hurt, I don't see a team beating them. They have no weakness. This is a team I haven't been able to say that since the 2016 Golden State Warriors. Regular season, Golden State Warriors. This team has no weakness. They can do it all on both ends. They create steals. They create a lot of turnovers. They ain't just doing it on one end of the court. They're doing it on both ends. They can drop. They're a very unselfish team. Everybody eats on this team. But Shea is the ringleader. But the thing is, they're doing it on defense too. They don't let you get on. I've seen them play a couple of times. They don't let you get on big, long runs, like 15-2 runs or 20-3 runs. They don't let you do that. They don't let you do that. They're going to put a stop to it, either by a steal or a block, something. Then they're just going to, and then they're going to turn that momentum over to their favor. And then they're going to run away with the game. And that's what they've been doing. You get a little close, they might let you get a little close, then they're going to get a steal, a block, something to turn the momentum swing their way, and then they're going to run away with it. And next thing you know, their starters are on the bench in the fourth quarter because the game's already over. Who can hang with this team? I'm throwing that question out to y'all. Who can hang with the Thunder? If you know a team that can hang with the Thunder, drop me a comment. Let me know. All right? Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. It's time for me to bounce. But tomorrow is Pick'em Friday, where I was going to pick, since we're not going to do the college football, but I will pick who I think will win the Heisman. I will pick the Army-Navy game. And I will pick the remainder games for Week 15 in the NFL. So Pick'em Friday will still be Pick'em Friday. And we'll get into that tomorrow. Plus, if I get any updates on the Sherrone Moore situation, I will be putting them out to you on tomorrow's podcast as well. All right? Big O with the big mouth out of here in the Total Sports Ozone. See you later.